Hi, I'm Cristina and I work here at the University of South Australia Mawson Lakes campus, home to our IT, engineering and aviation programs. We're excited to show you some of our facilities for our students, so join me and my colleagues as we show you some of our favourite spaces.
Hey everyone, I'm Jackson. I'm from UniSA International and I'm responsible for the STEM academic unit. And we've got Catherine here, who's one of our students. Catherine, what are you studying?
I'm studying civil and structural engineering and I'm doing my final year.
Oh, lovely. Awesome. So we are here in our civil engineering labs. We're going to take you on a bit of a tour. Right here, we are standing on the largest strong floor in Australia. So what is a strong floor? It's a 1 metre thick concrete floor. So if you come through here, you can see this floor being so thick and having these different points throughout the floor. It allows us to be able to chop and change the different pieces of equipment that we have in it to be able to do all sorts of testing in the civil engineering space. So, Catherine, do you want to tell me a bit about what's going on over here with this concrete beam?
Yes, this is a concrete beam and this machine is used to test its strengths. I did this practical, like this testing while I was in E3 for reinforced concrete design for this course.
Yeah, beautiful. So the cool thing about UniSA is you get to actually do all this testing in full scale because we are in Australia's largest strong floor. So you don't do things in like a mini scale, you do it the full size. So you've got another piece of sort of testing going on here, which this is probably sort of part of a PhD project. Over in this section here, this is always changing every time I come in here, it's something different. Over here you have things like hydraulics equipment, so they can do earthquake simulation type stuff. Where are we headed now, Catherine?
This is the main concrete mixing lab.
Okay.
So as we can see, we got different kinds of sand and different kinds of aggregates here. So we can see we have different types of different name tags now. That means we belong to different person. So let's go on. Okay.
Love it. This is cool. So, and this is your specific area of specialization, isn't it?
Yes, I'm really interested in concrete. And as we can see, this is the big concrete mixing machine. And over there, we also have the small one, like the baby concrete mixing machine for some small scale concrete mixing.
Love it.
And here are the concrete specimens. This specimen is the most widely used compressive strength testing specimen in Australia, based on Australian standard, this cylinder. And we also have different kinds of specimen like the cubic, like other types. So over here, this is the clone room.
Okay.
And once we finish mixing the concrete and we put concrete into specimens, we will move them into this room. We got very suitable temperature here, and we will wait them to stay there for like 10 days or for 7 days or 28 days. And then we can move them out to test their strengths.
Okay, cool. And tell me a bit about your final year project and what you're doing in that.
Yeah, my final year project is about rubberized concrete.
Okay.
That is to add rubber in concrete to replace like fine aggregate or coarse aggregate. This is very environmental friendly and this is very applicable.
Love that. And this is the rubber that comes from tires, like
from tires.
disposed car tires.
Yeah, because tire is the most like the waste material in the world.
Yeah.
So this is a good way to reuse this kind of material.
Love it. Such a practical kind of thing you get to do in the degree. And yeah, that's it. That's our structural strong floor lab and our concrete lab. Over to you, Cristina.
Sorry, Jackson, I was just finishing a game of basketball. Welcome to our Games Lab, and this is a space dedicated to our IT students, particularly those that are in our Games and Entertainment Design major. So I was just wearing our Magic Leap, one of the many tools that we have in this room. But as you can see, there's a lot more than that. So we've also got our game chairs, and as you can see behind us, we have our HTC Vives. Behind me, we have a game that has been currently made by one of our alumni, Billy, which was shown at AVCon, the Adelaide Gaming Convention, made with some of this software in this room. So for example, we've got our Alienware computers, we have our Razer mice, we have our really cool racer chairs. All of these are specially designed just for gaming and gamers. We are home to IVE, which is the Australian Research Centre for Interactive and Virtual Environments, and they use tools in this room, particularly for things in AR and VR, which is where the Vives and the Microsoft HoloLens come into play. And they've been using these tools to help health sciences and cure things such as chronic pain or help them along the way. So over to you, Jackson.
All right, here we are in the Power Systems Lab, and I've got a student here with us, Sal. Sal, what are you studying?
I'm a fourth year electrical and mechatronics engineering student.
Awesome. So this lab gets used by our electrical and electronic students in engineering, and we teach that at both the bachelor and the master level. So we've got basically two main sides to the lab. This side here is more the electronic side. So Sal, tell us a bit about this equipment here.
Yeah, so this side over here is something the university incorporated to avoid using physical equipment. So resistors, diodes, capacitors, they're all finite. They all have a finite life, and the more you use it, the more chance of damaging and breaking the equipment. So what we've got here is, in my hand is a set of alligator clips.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you want to use a certain component, you'll plug the alligator clip, flick a switch, plug it into another section, and then you can monitor the current going through that and seeing life breathe through your circuit that you've just built.
Yeah, cool. Great. That will make sense. And so as we move across into the other section of the lab, so this is more the power system side that we've got here. Having a look over here at some of this equipment, tell us a bit about this.
Yeah, so this is a little bit more advanced compared to that previous system, and the students in their later years of their engineering degree will have a bit of a tinker with this. So effectively you've got in an electrical system, you'll gauge it either as a high voltage system or a low voltage system. So in low voltage, that's usually what comes out of your house and used in basic industrial applications. Here we've got a motor that has, 5 different motors. Controlling the amount of current coming out of that shunt regulator will then control the amount of current going into the motor and then controlling how fast it spins. Something like this would be used in oil engineering applications or mining engineering applications. The tools over here are just used to measure the current coming out of that and measure other DC components of that system.
Awesome, love that. Thanks so much. And back over to you, Christina.
Welcome to the A building, home of the student lounge, and my favourite place on campus, because who doesn't love snacks? Behind me is one of the 2 cafes on campus where you can get your coffee fix. They have all your different milk varieties available. They're also a Hampton style bar where you can grab snacks such as burgers, lobster rolls, chips, or just something sweet for a treat. We've also got a Mexican food eatery. My favourite thing is an IQ bowl with extra jalapenos for something spicy. Both of these eateries have vegan, vegetarian options available, so they cater for everyone as well.
Thanks, Christina.
Thank you. As you can see, there's a lot of seating, so you can meet up with your friends, catch up after or before your studies, and just have a nice chill. If you end up having a drink, don't worry, because we are extremely close to one of the bus stops on campus, which is just across the road. We're also a 10-minute walk to our train station, which can get you through to the city in about 17 minutes. If you feel like being a little bit active and catching up with some of your friends, we also have some facilities on campus, such as some pool tables and some table tennis tables. If you want to catch up and have a bit of a mini tournament, or join one of our many student clubs who actively use this space and have some competitions running throughout the year. If you're like me though, and you like to have a bit more of a rest after your class and just relax, we've also got our own mini theatre where you can just watch some TV or movies and just have a sit down, relax and hang out and have a rest before your next class. So over to Jackson, who I think is about to take off.
Thanks, Christina. Yes, I am about to take off. I am here in our on-campus 737 simulator, and we are ready to actually fly into the sky. So come on through I've got the program director for the aviation degrees here with me, Steve Lee, Dr. Steve Lee. Hey Steve, how you going?
Good. How you doing, Jackson?
Good, thank you. So, yeah, tell us a bit about this 737 simulator. I understand this is industry standard, right?
Yes, you're sitting right now in our Boeing 737 NG simulator, and we've got it all set up here today to do a bit of a flight to Melbourne.
Love it.
And this simulator is one of 3 simulator labs that we have here at UniSA.
Okay.
In this simulator, all of our Bachelor of Aviation pilot and Bachelor of Aviation flight students will have a chance to spend a semester. And in our Cessna simulator lab across the hall, all of our students, including our management students, will spend a semester there.
Okay.
And our last sim lab down the hall is for air traffic control with future air traffic controller training.
Beautiful. All right, we'll take it away.
Let's do it.
We'll get going here. And as Steve gets this this aircraft ready to take off into the sky, I might just tell you a couple of other things. So basically, we've got the 2 degrees of aviation at UniSA, which is the management program and the flight program. And other than using the simulators in the degree, you also do get 15 to 20 hours of flying in the flight specialisation. And so that's done within around your first year. And then if you do decide that you want to continue on with some flying, and up we go.
Off we go.
Then we do also have the option to continue with a CPL program as well, so to get a commercial pilot license. But the beauty is you'll be using this sim, this real life 737 simulator in that final year of the flight specialisation of the degree.
That's right.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Steve.
So if you want to stay for another 45 minutes, you can see us do a landing in Melbourne, but I don't think you have time for that today.
Yeah, we don't. We'll have to leave it there. But that does just about wrap it up for the campus tour today of Mawson Lakes. Thanks so much for joining us, and we do hope to be able to welcome you onto this campus face-to-face sometime in the near future.